Hey there, welcome to Violet's DIY Style. I'm Violet. If this is your first time to my channel, don't forget to subscribe. Also, click on that bell button so you can be notified every time I upload a new video. And if you enjoyed this tutorial, don't forget to give me a big thumbs up and share with friends and family. So today I'm going to share with you how I made these two DIY home decor items using Dollar Tree supplies. The first one, we're going to actually be using some of these toy building blocks that you can get at Dollar Tree. And as you can see, I have quite a bit of them from previous projects, the bits and pieces that I've had from other projects that I've saved. So I just wanted to go ahead and try to use them and make something really pretty for your home. So what I decided to do was just go ahead and glue two of them together to make an even square. So since I had some darker ones and some lighter natural tone color ones, I decided to just make a pattern by gluing half of them just the same color, which are the two natural ones, and then some of them adding that darker painted color to the blocks as well. So once you get enough, just go ahead and set each one, divide them up and set them aside. And then what we're going to do is kind of make a tray, but we're going to make it to where it's halfway like a bowl. So what we did is I grabbed another just wooden block to elevate one of the blocks that I'm gluing together. And as you can see, what I did was I just decided to start off with the pattern one in the center, and then I glued two of the other solid color ones on the side. And I'm just doing it about halfway from each block. Then I grabbed two of the other blocks and put those on the bottom of the two that I just glued to the first one, and then just continued the process until I made it as big as I wanted to, or as wide. And what I'm doing by using that block on the bottom is I'm just elevating it slightly up a little bit before I glue the second layer or the third layer, whichever layer you're doing next, in order for it to be kind of curved at the ends. And you'll start seeing how that works as we keep going. And don't mind my dog. Her name is Luna. I have two of them that are always around me when I do my DIYs. They're just, whatever I put on the floor, I got to be careful because they'll start grabbing it and just wanting to play. As you can see, she grabbed one of the sticks and just took it off to go play with it. So what I'm doing here is I'm just continuing gluing, making any pattern you want. Of course, I kept it more of a natural style, but you can easily paint these to fit any decor in your home or wherever you're going to place this tray at. So I just kept going, gluing just halfway on that wood block that we made to the block that's already on the tray. It's where I'm starting the tray at. So see how it's curving up? So just continue adding those two extra blocks or whatever, depending on how big or how deep you want that curve. You're just going to keep adding to the ends, and then you're going to have to kind of hold it and then just continue your pattern and can keep gluing your pattern together. Now I'm using hot glue for my tray, but you can use wood glue. Especially I would recommend you use wood glue if you're deciding to add something heavy onto this tray, or if you want to use it outdoors. I would highly recommend you use wood glue. But since I'm going to use it for more of a decorative purpose and more of lighter items that I'm going to place on here, I felt like hot glue for me would be just fine for me to use it to put it all together. And there goes the next one trying to grab the stick from my other dog. So just continue adding your pieces together. And depending on how wide you want the opening in between, as you can see, it's kind of like a checkered pattern. The opening in between each one of your wood pieces, that's how much glue or how much you're going to insert your second layer or your third layer, whichever one you're working on, to that. And if you want it precise, of course, you can measure each one of them to make sure they're all precise. I kind of just eyeballed it and it worked just fine the way I did it. But again, if you want it more precise and you want each one of the openings in between your blocks to be actually identical and even, then yes, I would recommend you measure it out, each one of them, and then make a mark before you add your glue so you can know exactly where to place your next layer at from the one that you already glued together. So what I did was I basically made 7. That was my last final one, and this is the way it looks, and see how it curves up. So what I did next was just kind of set this one aside, and I'm gonna let it completely dry. And while this one is completely drying, I'm gonna go ahead and start on the next half, or the second part of my tray, which I'm gonna do the same thing, but since I started off with the pattern being one of the striped ones on the first pattern, I'm gonna do the opposite on this one, just to give it more of that different contrasted look. So again, just glue the edge and glue it onto one of the first layer or the first row, using that wood block on the bottom of the first row in order for it to elevate up a little bit, and then continue that process, adding your wooden blocks to the bottom of your second row, and then start with your third row. And I'm just pushing them together as much as I can, just to give it that pressure, and that way the hot glue can make sure it stays on there nice and tightly. And here's the third row, just doing whatever pattern you want. And then I'm just going to move the blocks and continue doing it. So it goes by pretty quickly once you kind of get the hang of what you're doing and the measurements that you're deciding on. So once you're done with both of them and they're all nice and dry, you're just going to evenly glue them together by inserting one of the ends into the other one, just like this. And all I did was make sure that it did fit in there before I added my glue. And then I just went and added the glue all to each one of them, and then inserted it into the checkered pattern. And there you go. And see, they're nice and tight because I did squeeze them together, so it is really, really secure. And just kind of play with it, make sure it's all the way you want it. Let it dry for a little while. And then once I let this dry for a little while, what I did was just grab my glue, my hot, I guess it's like a blow dryer heating gun, I believe it's called. And I just kind of removed any of those glue strands or that extra glue that seeped out while I was pushing the blocks together. And that's it. And then our second project, I needed something for my husband's side of the bed on his nightstand where he could place his shades and his sunglass case, because he always carries around sunglasses and his regular glasses and, you know, a watch maybe, or his wallet. So what I decided to do was grab some of these wood pieces, and there's 6 in each bag of these wood pieces, I would call them. And what I did was glue them together in an angle. And you can make this as wide or as big as you want. I just used basically 1.5 packages. So this completely cost me about $2 to make. So all I did was just add a little bit of wood glue, because this is going to have, I wanted him to be able to put his keys and glasses and wallet and stuff like that. So I wanted it to be nice and secure. So I did use wood glue for this project, and just a little bit of glue on either end of each one of these parts that I'm gluing together, just so it can glue faster. And that way that wood glue would have time to dry. Once you make as many shelves as you want, then what you're going to do is you're going to stack them all together. So I did let these dry a little bit before I started the second process, which is this one. And I just added, again, wood glue and a little bit of hot glue at the end, just to give it some let it dry completely, and I can move around with it and continue my project without having to wait for each one of them to dry because of the wood glue. So just add a little bit of glue and then go ahead and add your next layer. And since I did add that wood glue, it dries pretty quickly, and then I can continue in my project. So to make this more sturdy, what I did was I grabbed one of the wood pieces, added some wood glue, and I did add quite a bit of wood glue since I know this isn't going to be seen, but I know this is going to help a lot with the support. And then I added a little bit of hot glue again, and then glued that to the back of my project. And I'm just pushing it down, making sure it's all nice and sealed and holds on tightly. Once all this was completely dry, I just stained it to whatever color I wanted to stain it. And I'm using this wood stain that I had, and it actually turned out pretty dark. It's kind of like an espresso, maybe dark wood stain. So it's gonna look black, but it is a dark wood brown. And there's my dog on the floor laying down right beside me. I don't know if you guys have pets, but mine, I have always loved pets, dogs, or any kind of animal, but my heart belongs to my little doggies, so they're always around me while I'm doing my projects. And then once it was a little bit dry, I just went ahead with a wet washcloth and removed the stain that I wanted to, just to give it more of that lighter look. And I decided to add another piece to my project because like I said, I wanted him to be able to hang his watch or anything like that. So what I decided to do was just add another wood piece to one of the ends of my case. Just again, by wood glue and hot glue. And then I added another one on the end of it. So basically, instead of making 3 shelves, you need to make 4 shelves. But again, since I didn't realize that until I was done staining, I just went ahead and added that extra piece. And then once this was completely dry, then I just stained it to fit and match my case for my sunglasses already. And then once everything was nice and dry, I just added a hook. And these are just from Dollar Tree also. It's just a stick-on hook, and just added it to that little vertical shelf. And there you have it. And now he can add his sunglasses on here and maybe a necklace or a watch. And this is the way the tray turned out. Again, I wanted it more of a natural look. So here is how I displayed mine. So I hope I inspired you with these 2 home decor projects. If you did and enjoyed this tutorial, don't forget to give me a big thumbs up and let me know where you're going to place your projects at in your home down below. Until next time, you guys stay blessed. Bye.